Hello and welcome guys to another video, and today we have another track guide in the Radical SR8. This time we're at Okayama International full course, so let's get straight into it after the hot lap. So coming into the first corner, we want to try and keep our minimum speed quite high, and especially with this track, it's very easy to lock up and just kill your tires in the race. So that's one thing that you've got to really watch. Coming into the first corner, where I brake is kind of just after this overhanging banner and this 100-meter board. I'm braking just a few meters after that. Braking down into third gear. You can go into second gear if you want to, but I find that third gear keeps it a bit more stable and you can get on the power a bit early. I'm getting on the power just as I get onto this curb, and I'm trying to apex fairly late into the corner. Now, I'm not going all the way out to the left because I want to bring it over to the right here, and I don't want to get stuck on this curb. So as you see, I do go to the left here, but instead of keeping it on the left, I just touch this left and then come back over to the right, as you see here. Now, I'm braking very early for this corner and then just trying to let the car roll around the corner. This overhanging board here and this marshal post, it's in between there that I brake, so you can use either of those as your reference marker. As you see, just before this marshal post, we're on the brakes. Now, braking into third gear and just using the throttle, getting on the throttle before I get on the curb to just lift up the front of the car, using the throttle to rotate the car, and try and let the car coast. If you're a bit too late on the brakes, just let the car roll around the corner and let the downforce do it. If you get the braking right, you can get on the power nice and early and use all this curbing here. Have a look at the track limits as well when you're practicing, just so you know where they are. Sorry. This corner is really important because you're about to approach the longest straight on the circuit. So especially in the race, if you mess up this, you're really going to have to defend going into the hairpin. And with these cars having no ABS, it's really easy to lock up going into the hairpin. So this is a very important corner. This 50-meter board here, and we have the 100-meter board. So I'm braking about 75 meters, about halfway between those two. I go all the way into second gear, and I try and apex as late as possible. Now what I use as a marker is, see this fire extinguisher here on the right? About midway through the corner, I think it's the second one on the right on this corner. I try and get on the power just before my car crosses that. So at this point, it's just disappeared off my main monitor. That's when I get on the power. So I'm kind of getting on the power at the base of the hill, holding it tight, and then letting it drift out wide. Try and just rev out the car up that hill. Be careful with the traction, especially on the first few laps with the banking. It can be easy to lose the rear. Now coming into this hairpin, very hard braking zone. I think this is actually a higher speed than what you're braking for turn 1, but I could be wrong. My braking marker is between the 100-meter board and this 50-meter board. So I'm just crossing the 100-meter board there. It's just gone off my camera, and now I'm fully on the brakes, about 80% as you see there, and then just trying to trail into the corner all the way into first gear. Fairly late apex because we don't want to be going too wide here, because we do want to open the left-hander coming up. So as you see, I'm not over here. I'm kind of in the middle of the track coming out of the hairpin. Bring it over to the right, just about 30-40% brake. Keep it in second gear. Use a little bit of throttle to get around the corner. Short shift into third, and then I brake just before this white line here, or just before this curb. It depends. Some laps I braked just as I touch this curb, and some just before this white line. So just get a feel for what works best for you depending on the conditions. I also shift down into second gear, and then as you see, I just use a little bit of throttle and kind of just let the car roll around the corner. Once I know it's got that apex sorted, then I get on the power. Now this hairpin is a bit of a pain. I try and brake around about the 50-meter board, all the way into first gear. Here I got a little bit of a lockup as you see, but just trying to get a late apex again on this corner, because like the other ones, we want to be actually over to the middle or left of the track to open up this right-hander. So as you see, getting over to the left, little tap of the brakes, and as you see, I'm just letting it roll around the corner, shifting it in the first gear for rotation, and then short shifting it in the second for the wheel spin. Here I short shift into fourth to keep it stable, and then aim to cut as much of this curb as possible without unsettling the car. And in the final corner, again, just about 30-40% brake, just around about where that gravel ends is where you want to be off the brakes. So I don't really have a marker for where I start braking. I just try and get off the brakes by the end of this gravel. And then just let the car roll around the corner in third gear. And as soon as you know you've got the apex, just get on the power. As you see on this lap, I'm a little bit wide. I go a little bit wide. You can be a little bit closer to that apex for rotation. But on this lap, I was just a little bit too late on the brakes there. So back up that braking just a little bit, and that will be fine for the final corner. But there you go, guys. That is the track guide for Okayama. So if you guys have any suggestions for next week's track, do give me a shout in the comments down below. But as always, thank you very much for watching. Hope you enjoyed, and see you again next time.